Transplantation of institutions.
Leah May, Lascua,
The transplantation of institutions, that is its copying from one country to another, is one of the most challenging areas of institutional economics. At the same time, the overwhelming majority of research on institutional transplantation is based on a set of general methodological principles and theoretical positions which collectively might be termed the classical theory. Despite its persuasiveness and wide distribution, including outside the economic discourse, the classical theory of institutional transplantation has many built-in methodological limitations. It has a pronounced one-sided character, is based on reductionist approaches, and has problems with a systemic explanation of transplant processes in the modern economy. The extended theory proposes to pay special attention to bottom-up transplants, as well as the role of institution-based communities, heterogeneous networks of internal and external actors of transplanted institutions. Adaptation of a transplanted institution to the new environment is viewed more as an active transformation of the environment by actors. Institutional niche construction. The deviations from foreign prototypes arising in transplanted institutions are interpreted as adaptive refunctionalizations rather than transplant failures. Special emphasis is placed on the interactive communication field in which transplanted institutions develop. As a result of transplantation, it is proposed to consider not the dichotomy of successful adaptation and rejection of a new institution, but the emergence of institutional assemblage, a complex system of borrowed and local institutions based on irreducible institutional logics. Economic institutions. When economists use this term, they mean property rights, honest government, political stability, dependable legal system, and competitive and open markets. Why are these considered important for an economy? They create the right environment to allocate scarce resources. Property rights enable owners to protect their investments, and an honest government prevents citizens from having to resort to bribes. A dependable legal system allows for disputes to be resolved, contracts to be enforced, and money to be borrowed and lended. Political stability is necessary for INV. The term economic institutions refers to two things. 1. Specific agencies or foundations, both government and private, devoted to collecting or studying economic data or commissioned with the job of supplying a good or service that is important to the economy of a country. 2. Well-established arrangements and structures that are part of the culture or society. Competitive markets, the banking system, kids' allowances, customary tipping, and a system of property rights are examples of economic institutions. The property right is the exclusive authority to determine how a resource is used, whether that resource is owned by government or by individuals. Society approves the uses selected by the holder of the property right with governmental administered force and with social ostracism. Economics has made a substantial contribution to our understanding of the law, but the law has also contributed to our understanding of economics. Courts routinely deal with the reality of such economic abstractions as property and contract. The study of law thus gives economists an opportunity to improve their understanding of some of the concepts underlying economic theory. Free market. The market, then, is not simply an array, but a highly complex interacting latticework of exchanges. In primitive societies, exchanges are all barter or direct exchange. Two people trade two directly useful goods, such as horses for cows or Mickey mantles for Babe Ruths. But as a society develops, a step-by-step process of mutual benefit creates a situation in which one or two broadly useful and valuable commodities are chosen on the market as a medium of indirect exchange. It is much easier to pay steelworkers not in steel bars, but in money, with which the Workers can then buy whatever they desire. The institutions-intensive economy. In an institutions-intensive economy, many jobs consist of attempting to improve institutions, business process improvement, standards setting, and negotiating arrangements with other firms all fit within this framework. What happens when nations have weak institutions? Poor countries or slow-growing countries have bad institutions. I mean having institutions of low quality. One thing is we can think that institutions is important for economic growth and so forth, but how do you go about defining what good institute? We have developed these practices and institutions by building upon habits and institutions which have proved successful in their own sphere and which have in turn become the foundation of the civilization we have built up. The result of the successful application of the transplanted institutions must be economic and social security, the formation of effective collective decision-making mechanisms, the growth of state budget revenues, and other socio-economic indicators. The institutions should be assessed as a specific. Third characteristic is a public good. It is important to consider the probability of positive and negative impacts that are measured in terms of various social strata, as well as determine the effectiveness of the existence of different variants of the institutions adopted to regulate certain process. From the point of view of the determination of the economic security of its external and internal factors and risks, the main tasks of institutional transformation and market transformation of the economy are the creation of favorable conditions for the implementation of tasks in the context of globalization and integration, maximum realization of competitive advantages of national priorities, economic security, overcoming corruption and shadow economy, formation of an effective competitive environment, the creation of modern legal and institutional mechanisms for the protection of intellectual property rights, reaching an agreement between the regional elites on the priorities and perspectives of regional and national development, the formation of public confidence in the institutions of the state, government, business, and civil society.